Hey guys, welcome to our very first episode of Feast or Famine with the Youngs.
We are the Youngs.
We are the Youngs. I am Veronica.
I'm Alex.
Welcome.
Hola.
So this podcast was a dream that Alex kind of dreamt up during quarantine, I think. You want to tell him?
I wouldn't say a dream. I've always wanted to do a podcast and never had anything that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
I could talk about everything, but that's not. But we just wanted to...
Feast or Famine, what's it about?
Feast or Famine. It's about business and our life. And this year with COVID, it kind of solidified the whole thought of everything can just go away in an instant. Mm-hmm. And that's where the Feast or Famine idea came into my head, where those are the options. We can either eat or we can starve. And I wasn't about to let us starve, so with everything moving and our loss of income that we and everybody else that runs a business was inevitably getting, it was time to pivot and figure out how we can make money.
Yeah.
How we can survive, because this is what we do full time.
Yeah.
So
that's a gist of Feast or Famine. Our first episode, we thought we'd just take it super simple.
Super loosey-goosey.
I have to say, you guys, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm incredibly nervous. I don't like to be on camera. My voice is like shaking a little bit.
That's why there's a mic in front of your face, so it's kind of like a shield.
I'm very nervous. A couple housekeeping notes. We are at our studio in Main Street, St. Charles.
Downtown St. Charles.
And it's the holiday, what's it called? Christmas traditions down here. So it's always busy down here just because of the area. But this week it's super busy because of Christmas traditions. So if y'all hear trucks, a truck or people walking or you know, it's because we're down in downtown. Look, there is a big truck already.
Beer. Delivering beer to the bars.
So yeah.
I just realized we have a pile of bricks right there.
We'll have to get that.
We'll take care of that next time.
Okay, so anyway, we're just gonna start out by saying, you know, like just a little bit about us, who we are, what we do.
We're the Youngs. We covered that, I think.
In our company, yeah. So I am a full-time business owner / photographer for the Youngs Photo and Film. I do all social media for us. So if you get on our Instagram and you expect to see a face, it's probably going to be mine.
You probably won't see mine unless he forces me.
Yeah. And then he gets really awkward on camera.
I need to do better.
I do all of our client communications, all that good stuff, editing photos and anything related to photography. I kind of handle that stuff.
And I do basically everything back end of business, finance, marketing.
He's the brains behind the operation, to be quite honest.
And the videography.
Yeah.
And
he also does photo too, though.
I do. She does video too.
Yeah, but I'm truly I just press record. Alex actually knows what he's doing when it comes to photo and video.
I'm also an idea machine, and she kind of has to pull the reins sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I get a lot of ideas, and some of them are just...
They're out there.
Yeah.
It's okay. We love a good dreamer. So our company actually started as Veronica Young Photography, and I started in 2015.
2015.
And it was just a little photography company doing portraits and weddings, and I never thought that I would be doing this full time. I actually worked at Boeing, had a full-time job there, and then decided that I hated my job. And I guess we just kind of made a game plan to quit.
Yeah, she didn't like it, so she's like, the company started kind of getting so full-time that it wasn't feasible to do both jobs.
Yeah, I was drowning.
So we made a decision, and the beginning of 2018, I decided, since I do all the finances, and I did then, even though I wasn't officially part of the company.
He still did back-end stuff for Veronica Young Photography.
I decided, okay, we will take the money that we are making for your business and use that as your income. And everything that you get from Boeing will just be set aside, and we'll budget as though that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And because we did that, we were actually able to buy a house that same year.
Yeah.
And then she quit.
Yeah, we got a lot of big eyeballs on that one. Me quitting my job and then buying a house and quitting 4 months later.
Yeah,
like
people
thought we were nuts, which maybe we were, but
I feel like every business owner in a sense is a little bit nuts.
Yeah, truly. I mean, we had a plan.
You have to be.
We had a plan, and then, we had faith. We felt like the Lord was going to push us in the right direction. So it was good.
And then a little backstory on me and the company. I obviously, when we started, I kind of had a lot to do with the back end of business still and helping with marketing and finance. And we were able to buy gear and stuff without having any kind of debt, because at the beginning, every dime that came in, we just cycled back into the company and purchased stuff as we could make money. So we built that up, and that was great. But at the time, I was working for a production company full time, and I have been in video production for almost a decade now, probably more than a decade now.
Side note, we just have to talk about that. You were in the wedding industry far before I was, and not very many people know that about you.
That's it. Actually, we just booked a wedding.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we did.
And they found me because I DJ'd a friend of theirs wedding. Yes, you heard that right. I used to be a wedding DJ.
I mean, you are also a musician, so really, it truly, it goes hand in hand, but yeah.
But it was one of those things where I was like, and I think this is why I had the mindset when we started the company, which I'll get to that. I didn't enjoy it.
Your full-time job at the time?
No, I didn't enjoy DJing. I didn't enjoy DJing weddings.
Yeah, you hated it.
I was like a side hustle, and I was just trying to make some extra cash, and it worked.
Yeah.
So I got to the point where I'm like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm just going to pump my prices up, and if they want to pay for me, they'll pay for me.
And you were so good that people kept coming back.
And people kept paying for me, but I still just did not like it. So the money it wasn't. I didn't want to do it for the money. So I made the decision that I was going to be done with DJing. So that's where my mindset was with weddings. I didn't enjoy them. That was the last thing that happened.
Yeah. So you had like a bad taste in your mouth for weddings.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I was working full time for production companies, and I was in video production for the commercial television world, for several different companies. But in 2017, we started getting inquiries that were requesting photo and video. And so in order to get the booking, I said, I'll go ahead and do video for it. I know what I'm doing on that side of it. So how hard can a wedding be? Boy.
It's hard.
It's a whole new animal, even with production experience.
Yeah. Would you say, I think you've gotten this question a lot, would you say going from corporate to wedding is easier, or wedding to corporate? Which one's easier?
Corporate to wedding.
Yeah.
And I say that because having to deal with storyboarding and pre-production type stuff that you don't get to do for weddings, and understanding how a set works with your director of photography, your directors, your producers, your
just working with a lot of people, grips, fast-paced type of thing.
Your PAs, yeah.
Yeah.
And how what all actually takes place on a set. You have that understanding, and you go into a wedding and you do all of that.
Yeah.
So you have to have an understanding on lighting, how to make lighting look good with limited resources, how to do run and gun stuff, documentary style is kind of what it is.
Yeah. So anyway, back to
where I was at.
Yeah. Sorry.
So I started saying, yes, I'll do some weddings with you.
Never with the intention that you were going to do this full time.
Never with the intention I was doing this full time. So then 2018 started. We decided, let's just start offering video.
Yeah. But you still weren't even in your heart you weren't in love with weddings.
I wasn't in love with weddings, but I'm like, let's do it. I mean, we can, there's a whole market that wants both of us.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So we went forward with it. And later in 2018, a lot happened for us in 2018.
Yeah.
End of 2018, I lost my job, my production job, but I also got a good severance package. So they were very helpful with that.
Yeah.
And actually, we used that time that I had the severance to basically say, hey, this is us. We're doing this. And
yeah,
this is our full-time job now. So as of 2019, officially, it was the two of us 100%, and that was our full income.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were doing weddings and you were still doing your production job, the reason why you didn't like it is because you hated your production job. Like you were
I wouldn't say I hated my production job. I was just overloaded.
And it was causing you to be unhappy.
It's one of those things where
you were unhappy, and it wasn't like allowing you to enjoy what you were doing because you were just doing it every day anyway.
Right. So like, it's one of those things where I spend 40 plus hours a week doing this type of job. I didn't want to come home to do that type of job again.
Yeah. The editing, the shooting,
and it was
all
just
of
like
it.
constant shooting and editing all day, every day. And that's what my life had become.
Yeah.
So
it was a blessing.
It was a blessing in disguise that I lost my job.
Which if any of you know me, you know, I freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when I found out I was down here, I was doing an engagement session on Main Street. And you called me on your way home, and I was waiting.
I was on my way to a gig.
I was waiting for my couple to arrive, and I was down here on Main Street. Wow, full circle.
I was on my way to a gig.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I had a total meltdown, but we quickly realized that it was like a huge blessing because you were just so unhappy. And I mean, now.
No, I love it.
You love weddings and your job.
Yep. And I have time to do anything, really. I mean, I'm kind of an entrepreneurial mind anyway. So being not being tied to a 9-to-5 and being able to work for myself, I can actually put time and energy and effort into these other avenues and interests and ideas that I have.
Yeah.
This is one of them.
Yeah. This is not something I was super interested in doing, to be honest.
I've pushed her to do this for a while.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be doing it, but it's weird. I was telling Alex that I think people are going to watch this who know us, and depending on the level of how much they know us, they're either going to decide they don't like us or they're going to decide they really do like us. Or they're
going to be like, I knew all this, so...
Yeah, or they're going to be like, we already knew this. I never talk this much. I'm an Enneagram 3, so I'm pretty reserved. I'm not extroverted.
Unless you get her fired up.
Unless I'm a little heated or I get a little saucy, I can. But saucy. I'm normally pretty reserved. Yeah. What about you?
Nope, I'm a hard 8.
Hard 8, yeah.
So I say it.
I feel like
with the best intentions, but sometimes it doesn't come off that way.
Yeah. And for us, it works out really well because Alex is like, this is how it is, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I'm like, well, sometimes a little frosting never hurt nobody. You need to be a little nicer.
Trademark that. A little frosting never hurt nobody.
I actually don't like frosting.
TM, that's a verbal trademark.
Okay. Anyway.
Anybody? Nobody?
So what else we got on here?
2020.
Yeah, we're going to talk about 2020.
We'll talk about 2020. Let me tell you. So 2020, we started 2020 with, these huge goals. I feel like 2020 is the year that everybody was like, this is the year.
This is my year. And I feel like everybody felt that way.
Well, and like leading up to 2020, we had, from August through even like February, like 2 weeks before the world shut down, we traveled for work.
More than we ever have.
7-8 times.
Yeah. It was amazing.
We shot for events and met and worked with some pretty big people.
Yeah, amazing
in
people.
the industry. We did our last thing we did before the shutdown was a wedding party at a giant mansion in Irvine, California, with an amazing wedding planner.
Yeah.
And it was like we were on this high. We had just
truly a blessing.
We had just rebranded.
Yeah.
On January 1st, like we launched that, we were planning this leading up to 2020.
When I say that 2020 was like our year, and I'm sure some of you like feel the same way. Like it was our year. I had been working on a rebrand for us since August. We hired a rebrand company, a designer. I had been working on the website forever, which I didn't even launch until
March.
We
had a side.
We were ready to like pretty much conquer 2020.
The world
in 2020.
The world.
Yeah. And actually last night when we were hanging out a couple with our friends, we were talking about one of them said, honestly, 2020 has
the best year of my
been
life.
the best year of my life. So it's
been a year. I mean, and that's kind of where we want to take this conversation. It's, everybody had these huge goals and
they all got wiped.
They all just like,
everybody
stopped in their tracks.
Honestly.
It's like, just head on.
Yeah.
And I made the comment last night, when you have big goals and the more successful you get, the bigger your challenges get.
Mm-hmm. As far as it like being a worldwide thing and not only it affecting small business, big business, even like the way that it emotionally impacted like people across the world and,
being told you can't go see your family.
Yeah. I mean,
you have to lock down in your house.
Losing loved ones, not being able to see them. Like it's been incredibly difficult for a lot of people. I'm like getting emotional talking about it, but I think, where was I going to go with this? Cause I'm getting choked up even talking about it.
What did you learn?
Oh, we wanted to talk about what we learned in 2020. But what I was saying is that for us personally, we were talking about last night how 2020 has been honestly a great year. Mm-hmm. Despite the challenges that we face personally with COVID and everything that I brought with it. I mean, we didn't reach every goal we wanted to, but we maintained, which is great. And
maintained as in like year to year financially.
Yeah.
So like we didn't go backwards.
No.
Where there's businesses that had to close their doors.
Yeah.
So that's a humongous one in my book.
Yeah. And although we didn't reach our goal, a few of our goals that we had, it in no way set us back. And in fact, we have done a few things this year that weren't necessarily on our goal list, but for this year, but it's a huge win.
Like opening the studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
this wasn't a 5-year plan.
We wanted to open a studio within 5 years. We set that goal in January.
Yeah.
We opened in July.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was one of those things that was like, this is absolutely perfect and everything we've been looking for. Sometimes you got to jump in with both feet.
Yeah. It's the entrepreneurial mindset. It's the entrepreneurial mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have booked some of our like favorite weddings for this year.
And we had some of our favorite weddings ever this year in the midst of COVID.
Yeah. And I feel like I wanted to talk about that a little bit too. One of the things that I learned in 2020 is you should always have a plan B. And sometimes plan B is better than plan A. And a lot of the times for the weddings that we shot this year, they had to change almost everything. Some of them at a dime of a hat. Is that a thing?
At the
drop of a hat.
Drop of a hat.
Yeah.
The dime of a hat.
The dime of a hat. I don't even know what I'm saying, but.
They had to turn on a dime.
Yeah, there you go.
You were thinking two different things.
Yes, I'm not wrong. But anyway, they had to change everything, last minute. And some of those weddings were the best weddings that we have shot in our career.
And the couples even loved them. They're like, I would not have ever imagined that this intimate thing we decided to do would have been like
so fun
and so fulfilling.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of them, whether they decided to just do everything small and not do anything later, some of them decided to do a big party later, but then they get the best of both worlds too.
Right.
So I'm not personally, I know there's thousands and thousands of couples who still got married in 2020, which is great. But the ones that we were able to celebrate with, I don't think have any regrets. Whether they did do it, or they changed. I think the people who decided to move their day are probably pretty happy. But the ones that went through with it, I think they like how everything turned out.
Even I know having to change everything.
Yeah, I know we really enjoyed them.
And to that note, like change, I think change is the topic. I think that if there ever was one for this, because not only did we realize goals that we had as long-term goals that we fulfilled this year, we also realized that we have new things that we want to do, like having 3 months off. We dove into things that just because it's that whole mindset of, okay, we can lose everything in a second.
Yeah.
Because we almost did because of COVID. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were ever going to be able to do a wedding again. So right. We had to go to the drawing board and figure out what to do. So, I mean, I dug into e-commerce, and I'm still working on several things that are coming in the pipeline in 2021, I believe, is what my goal is. But the whole idea of it is, or my thought process behind it, what I learned, I guess, is everybody knows that there should be ready for anything, but actually being ready for it is a whole different beast.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people realize that this year, where they know what they should have done and that they have to diversify in their business and have backup plans on things that you don't even know might happen.
I feel like this is where the big gif of Ross trying to get his couch up the stairs saying pivot is where it comes in. Like, pivot. It's funny, but it's so true.
It is. You have to always be willing, and
you have to be okay with it.
Not just willing to, but ready to.
Yeah.
At any time.
Yeah.
Don't get comfortable.
That's a really good point, because I feel like everything that we have done since going full time with our business, every big decision that we make, that only turns out to be like a good decision for us or helps us become more successful or, whatever, we're uncomfortable making that decision. Right. Always. I was incredibly uncomfortable making the decision to get this place. Like, I can't even say that I'm super comfortable even still, The
most comfortable big decision she ever made was quitting Boeing.
Yeah. And I mean, I was nervous. Like, there's no doubt about that. I was scared and I was nervous.
Would you say your willingness to leave that place overshadowed the fear of doing it?
Yeah, maybe. I also had a lot of, not only did I just trust the Lord and I felt like that was what was supposed to happen, but I also had a lot of faith in what you had set up for us. And I just was like, if you say you got it, I trust you, babe, you got it.
That's also the 8 in me. I got this. That should be my how many times? When I die, I want my tombstone to say, I got this.
Jeez.
So take note.
Okay. I mean, how many times did I ask you, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yep. And I mean, it just comes down to having a plan.
Yeah.
And I think 2020, if ever there was a year to tell us, you can have a plan, but you need to be ready to
change that plan or
actually move forward with that plan. Mm-hmm. Having a plan's the first step.
So be decisive.
Like, do something.
Don't be indecisive.
Don't just talk about it. Do about it.
Mm-mm.
Do about it.
Okay.
What? You're judging me.
No, I'm not. No, that's great. That's good. I would say the next one of mine is life spares no one. I felt this way when my dad died, but not even just death. And obviously COVID has brought a lot of death, but just the way that things change and move, kind of like with what you were saying, like life does not slow down. And I feel like 2020 has rapidly gone by.
We're already, by the time this comes out, it'll be 2021 and there won't be a 2020 anymore. Like
when we did that wedding in LA, I literally feel like that was like not that long ago, but that was in February.
Still.
I feel like January through the beginning of March was like a completely different decade. And
it both feels like it was
forever
the
ago.
Slowest year of my life, but also the fastest at the same time.
I feel like it started off slow, and then just once COVID hit, it just like went rapid fire. It went so fast for me.
I think during the shutdown, it was like, at first it was
I feel like we're
dragging
already
on, and then once I like got a game plan together and started doing it,
yeah,
I blinked and I'm like, oh, we can shoot weddings again.
Yeah.
So I got to put that on hold now and do this. And then when I started doing this, it was not just normal bookings.
It was
everything. It was everything we'd already booked, everything we moved, last minute weddings bookings, we were getting because they just needed a last minute videographer, photographer because of A, B, or C. So, I mean, I'm still working nonstop just to try to finish off the year, even though we don't have any more weddings in the year.
Yeah. But, life spares no one. Life is a beast, and can be cruel, but it can also be beautiful, and it doesn't slow down whether you want it to or not. It takes what it wants, leaves what it will, and we don't really have any say in it, you know?
Just got to go with it.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to your whole thing. You just have to be,
just be ready. You have to be ready for anything, but you might say, well, how can you be ready for what you don't know you have to be ready for? That's the point. That's exactly the point. You don't know, so you just have to be ready for whatever comes, and you can't
I feel like it's like and not in like necessarily terms of like let's build a bunker and have all these like survival things. Like, yes, that's great, but more like mindfully, like in your mind and in your emotions and your mindset. Just be ready to pivot and change and do things that maybe you weren't ready to do because...
Or you don't want to do.
Yeah. I mean, we know people who had to get, like entrepreneurs who had to get side jobs, like doing...
like Instacart.
Yeah. Which...
He made a killing doing Instacart.
Which is great. But it's like, I feel like maybe I know as an entrepreneur, like sometimes your pride can get in the way, but with everything happening with COVID, that was like the time to be like, okay, well, there's no room for pride. Like you have to either ask for help or you have to just go out and get it.
I mostly agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm one of those that probably is my pride would get in the way.
It's hard for you to like get that out.
And I have always been, ever since we've gone full time and I've just like enjoyed this ride, two things have always come to the front of my mind, and I've said it out loud 1,000 times. One of those things is going back to a 9-to-5 job is not an option.
Oh, no.
Absolutely will not.
Well, no. And that's not necessarily what I mean, because I would not be able to do that either. I'm just saying for our way of living, at least, for the way that we live our lives and the way that we choose to live our lives, we would have to make sacrifices or potentially have to make sacrifices.
Which comes to my second point.
Okay.
The other thing that always comes out of my mouth that is always in the forefront of my mind is no matter what happens, there is always a way to make money.
Yeah.
There's a million ways to make money. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, going to get a 9-to-5 is one of those things.
That's just not an option.
It's just something I don't want to do.
Yeah.
So
we're going to find a way to make money. I'm going to find
a way to make money to make up for the money that I'm not making now because of what happened.
Right. I could never go back to a 9-to-5. Ever.
I like
you couldn't pay me enough.
The freedom that comes from working for yourself successfully is literally the best thing in the world.
I mean,
and
I am not the person. I don't know when I decided that this was a thing, because when I worked for Boeing. I was fine with...
Even before you worked for Boeing?
I was fine with having a boss.
School, and your mindset was, I'm going to get a full-time job. And
that's what I wanted, and I did
work my way up and make a lot of money doing that.
I was fine with having a boss and having rules and things like that. I'm not sure where that mindset shift happened, but I can't
shift happened when you realized
I can't work for anyone now.
The mindset shift happened when you realized not only do you love what you're doing as your side hustle at the time, but it can also be lucrative enough to make a living, and a better living than you were making at Boeing.
Right. I don't think I could ever. This sounds really snotty,
it's like
but
the light bulb came on, and you're like, I could do that.
I could never have a boss ever.
And nothing against the people that enjoy what they do and working their 9 to 5s. I mean, there are people are different. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
We just personally don't like that life.
Yeah.
Somebody is screaming outside.
I know. I heard it. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. It's what makes the world go round, is everybody has different opinions.
Different opinions, different thought process, different skill sets, different everything.
That brings me to another thing that 2020 taught me, is that your difference of opinions is, how do I say this? Like, it's a truly beautiful thing. And it taught me to be more I was already respectful of like people who have different opinions, and I don't judge, but to not be afraid to share those opinions openly.
But also be empathetic.
But also yes, exactly. But also be empathetic to the people who necessarily don't have the same ones. And then more importantly,
why they have those.
Why, and learning and understanding why other people's opinions are what they are. And that could honestly change your like mindset about things, just being, I guess, let me wrap this up as far as like this whole, what 2020 has taught me, piece of this, that, you can have your own opinion on things, and that's great. But educating yourself on why people have the opposite or different opinion than yours is very important.
Don't be so stuck in your ways.
Yeah.
Because the world would not be what we wouldn't be where we are without people. If everybody's the same.
Yeah. It'd be boring.
I'm like word vomiting right now.
It'd be boring.
The world would be boring if everybody thought the exact same way.
Yeah.
That is not a world I want to live in.
Yeah. I think, a difference of views and opinions and political views and whatever it may be is a beautiful thing. And that's what makes the world turn. So.
And that's honestly, if you dig deep enough into it, that is what actually fosters, what's the word? Innovation. Because
people think in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different thought processes, different ways of getting to those thoughts, different. I mean, that everybody's different.
Yeah.
That's why anytime you work on something, you should always have at least one or two other people.
Right.
Because they might have a better way to do it that you may not have thought of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So educating yourself on just
the other side
and, why people feel the way that they do about certain things. And it's incredibly important to educate yourself on all things. What else has 2020 taught you?
I think the biggest thing that 2020 has taught me, and honestly, 2017 started teaching me this, 2018 started teaching me this, 2019 started teaching me this.
Okay.
Do not take a single second for granted with the people that you care about and love.
Oh, preach it.
Because you have no idea.
I had that written down on my list, but.
You have no idea when that time you saw that person was the last time that you will have ever seen that person.
Yep. Life spares no one.
That goes back to that one point, but yeah.
Yeah. But more specifically, like, don't take
that for granted.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people can probably relate to that in 2020 because some people can't, you know, if you have to quarantine, you can't see your family, that type of thing. So yeah, like not being able to see the people that you care about, not even just your family, but your friends, or maybe you live in a different state and your friends are your family. So literally that's all you can't see the people that you love and care about because you have to quarantine or, whatever. It's crazy. Makes you really realize,
what's important.
Yeah. And then also just on a more lighthearted note, like the little things in life. I really enjoy a cocktail on a patio. And I was not able to do that for several months.
Oh man. Or just a steak.
I know.
That you don't have to go and pick up and take home to go.
And cook it ourselves. Which we enjoy that, but also I like having cooked food for me.
No, I meant like
food being cooked for me.
Curbside steak. Like I couldn't have restaurant, a good steakhouse steak is just, I can make a mean steak, but having a really good steakhouse steak is like the experience and everything. You don't get that.
Right.
At a curbside steak. Even in the same exact steak, same exact restaurant, same exact chef.
It's just not.
It doesn't taste as good.
Well, what's even more like than that?
What?
Sushi.
Dude, sushi to go is the worst.
It's awful.
But sushi at a sushi place is the best.
Yeah. So just the little things. The little things in life.
If you want to go have a drink, have a frickin' drink.
Yeah. I mean, like also going out and just being in a crowd of people. Concerts, the little things. Concerts. I miss concerts a lot. And even though I'm an introvert, I enjoy a good outlet of being in a crowd of people every now and then.
Can't do that no more.
Well, not really.
Sort of, not really. Small crowd of people.
But even now, like, people are, I don't know, it's just, your mind goes in a different direction when you're in a crowd of people now.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, 2020 has definitely been a year. And it's both been one of the most challenging years and the best year. I think I don't know if we can all agree on the best year, but I think for us specifically, it's been a great year. It's been a great learning. I think if you can learn something, it's good.
You can take something good from it.
You can take something good from any situation.
I definitely would not say 2020 has been our best year, but despite everything that 2020 has been and what 2020 will forever be labeled as, it definitely wasn't our worst year. It's pretty good.
Bad things are going to happen. Take what you can from it.
Yeah.
And
we're glass half full kind of people.
Oh yeah.
Although I will say sometimes
I'm a glass full type person.
Sometimes I'm a glass half empty kind of gal, and Alex has to fill my cup.
Fill up my cup.
Okay.
Sorry.
Anyway.
So we probably wrap this up because we're rambling now.
Thank you guys for listening to us. I told Alex, I was like, truly no one's going to think that, I mean, you're interesting, but I'm really just not. So maybe our conversations are interesting enough. People will actually listen to us.
I'm not that interesting.
I don't know. We probably should have started this podcast in the beginning of 2020 when everyone was quarantined and needed to listen to podcasts.
But I wouldn't have learned I can't tell you what I learned in January.
Yeah, but maybe it would have been more entertaining if we talked about everything happening while it was happening.
Like a play-by-play?
Yeah.
We should have totally done that.
We should have. Well,
snooze, you lose.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
We wouldn't have this studio to do it in, though.
It's true.
Can I do it was my studio done yet? At home?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys continue to listen to us. The gist of our, future episodes are going to be, of course, business related. May or may not have a couple like personal type of episodes in there just to like keep things fresh.
I mean, our business is our life. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of crossover.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have any ideas for topics, definitely message us.
Yeah.
I've got a big list, but.
And we were going to have guests too.
Definitely add to that.
We have a list of guests that we want to bring on.
Yep.
So
yeah, there's a lot in store for this. Hopefully we'll be able to do this. I'm gonna set the bar kind of high here right now, once a week.
Great. Oh, okay. I was not ready for that.
Hopefully.
Okay. Good to know.
So, yeah.
That's fine. This is the most we're gonna end up talking to each other all week now.
Maybe.
Okay, we need to wrap this up.
I don't know how to wrap this up.
Me either.
Feel free to share this, comment if you have any kind of discussion points on what we talked about. Yeah.
We'll catch you on the next one.
All the things, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye, guys.